Close your eyes and picture this. It's 2011, and The Office, the sitcom that defined a generation with its cringe-inducing humor and heartwarming moments, is teetering on the edge of collapse. The man who made Dunder Mifflin a household name, Steve Carell, has just walked away from his role as Michael Scott, leaving a gaping hole in the heart of the show. In a jaw-dropping revelation, Rainn Wilson, our beloved beat farming, bear-fearing Dwight Schrute, has spilled the tea on what really happened behind the scenes. It was chaotic, he confessed, painting a picture of a show scrambling to survive without its comedic soul. Was this the moment The Office lost its magic forever? Grab your world's best boss mug and brace yourself for a roller coaster of drama, heartbreak, and untold secrets from one of TV's greatest comedies. Steve Carell's exit and the fallout. In the spring of 2011, after 7 iconic seasons, Steve Carell bid farewell to The Office. His character, Michael Scott, the bumbling yet lovable regional manager of Dunder Mifflin's Scranton branch, was the heartbeat of the show. But Carell's star was rising in Hollywood, with blockbuster hits like The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Little Miss Sunshine, and Crazy, Stupid, Love cementing his status as a cinematic heavyweight. Rainn Wilson, speaking on the Good Guys podcast with Ben Schwartz and Josh Peck, didn't mince words about the impact. "We knew Steve was leaving," he said, his voice tinged with resignation. His film career was exploding, and he was destined for bigger things. But losing him? It was like pulling the plug on the show's life support. Michael Scott wasn't just a character. He was, as Wilson called him, the comic engine that powered The Office. His absurd antics, whether burning his foot on a George Foreman grill or hosting the disastrous Scott's Tots episode, kept viewers glued to their screens. When Carell left, the show didn't just lose a character, it lost its gravitational center. Wilson described the aftermath as chaotic, a word that conjures images of frantic writers' rooms, tense cast meetings, and a show struggling to rediscover its rhythm. How do you tell stories without the comic engine? Wilson asked, a question that haunted the cast and crew as they faced an uncertain future. The chaos unfolds. Imagine the set of The Office in the wake of Carell's exit. The familiar Dunder Mifflin office, once buzzing with laughter and improvisation, now feels like a ghost town. The cameras roll, but the energy is off. The cast, from John Krasinski's charming Jim Halpert to Jenna Fischer's relatable Pam Beesly, grapples with a new reality. Wilson, whose deadpan delivery as Dwight Schrute made him a fan favorite, laid bare the struggle on the podcast. "It was like trying to sail a ship without a captain," he said, his words a gut punch to fans who cherished the show's golden years. "We were all trying to keep it together, but it was tough." The writers threw everything at the problem. They introduced quirky new characters like Robert California, played by James Spader, whose creepy charisma confused as much as it intrigued. Catherine Tate's Nellie Bertram brought her own chaotic energy, but her polarizing presence divided fans. Ed Helms' Andy Bernard was promoted to manager, a move that felt like a desperate attempt to fill Michael's oversized shoes. Even Will Ferrell popped in as the bizarre D'Angelo Vickers, but his brief stint fizzled out. "We tried to make it work," Wilson reflected, but it was like patching a sinking ship with duct tape. The media smelled blood. Outlets like The Wrap ran scathing pieces, with headlines like, "Rainn Wilson admits The Office struggled after Steve Carell's exit." The Daily Beast piled on, quoting Wilson's podcast comments, "Keeping the show going was a struggle." Social media platforms, especially X, became a battleground for fans. One user posted, "Michael Scott was The Office. Without him, it was just a bunch of people sitting in an office." Another wrote, "Andy as manager? Worst decision ever. Hashtag bring back Michael." Reddit's r/entertainment exploded with threads dissecting Wilson's revelations, with one user lamenting, "Seasons 8 and 9 felt like a different show." But not everyone saw it that way. Jenna Fischer, the heart of Dunder Mifflin as Pam, had previously painted a rosier picture. In a 2020 interview with Collider, she insisted, "We found new stories to tell, and the show stayed strong." Wilson's candid comments on the Good Guys podcast directly challenge her optimism, sparking a fresh wave of debate. Vulture jumped in, noting, Rainn Wilson's take contradicts Jenna Fischer's claim that The Office thrived post-Carell. On X, fans picked sides. Jenna's delusional if she thinks those seasons were good. One user snapped, while another defended. Pam and Jim carried the show. Rainn's just salty. The divide was stark. Some clung to the show's legacy, while others saw Carell's exit as a death knell. The rise and fall of a TV titan. To grasp the magnitude of this chaos, you need to understand The Office's place in TV history. Launched in 2005 as a bold adaptation of Ricky Gervais' UK series, the NBC sitcom was a slow burn that became a cultural phenomenon. Its mockumentary style, sharp writing, and stellar ensemble, John Krasinski, Jenna Fischer, Rainn Wilson, and Steve Carell, made it a juggernaut. At its peak, it drew millions of viewers and won multiple Emmys, including Outstanding Comedy Series in 2006. Michael Scott was the linchpin, his mix of absurdity and heart. Think Prison Mike or his tearful goodbye in Season 7, defining the show's unique tone. Carell's departure wasn't just a casting shakeup, it was a seismic shift for a show built around his character. By 2011, he was a Hollywood A-lister, starring in hits like Date Night alongside Tina Fey and voicing Gru in Despicable Me. Steve was getting offers left and right. Wilson said in a 2022 Variety interview, "We all knew he'd outgrow us." NBC, banking on the show's loyal fan base, greenlit 2 more seasons, but the cracks were evident. Ratings for seasons 8 and 9 dipped, with Nielsen reporting a 20% drop in viewership by 2012. Critics were lukewarm. The New York Times called Season 8 a noble effort but a pale imitation, while Entertainment Weekly noted, the show got a little wonky without Carell. The cast felt the weight. Wilson, who had spent years perfecting Dwight's eccentricities, admitted in a 2015 HuffPost interview that the show lost its way in the later seasons. Ed Helms, thrust into the spotlight as Andy, faced fan backlash for his character's inconsistent arc. Even guest stars couldn't save the day. Will Ferrell's D'Angelo was a brief distraction, and Spader's Robert California felt like a character from a different show. By the time The Office wrapped in 2013, its finale was bittersweet, a mix of heartfelt closure and lingering regret over what could have been. A fan's heartbreak. As someone who rewatched The Office through college breakups and late-night cram sessions, Michael Scott's exit felt personal. Those early seasons were magic. Every "that's what she said" joke, every Jim Pam glance, every Dwight prank was perfection. When Carell left, it was like losing a friend who always made you laugh. Rainn Wilson's honesty resonates because it validates the emptiness fans felt.